Hey everyone, welcome to Served. We survived to get to another week of talking nonsense on this show. Happy to be here, to be back. I had a week. I was barely here at home, LA to New York. Saw producer Mike, saw JW for like 2 high fives as we were all working. Little update. So we did have on some previous episodes, we auctioned off the opportunity to hit an Arthur Ashe Stadium to some listeners. It all worked out. A donation was made. Fun was had. We were at Arthur Ashe Stadium. Anytime Mike goes there, he ends up either in the first row or on the court. Slightly offensive. I do want to like one of the cooler moments of our couple of days. So what happens is the USTA is generous enough to let me kind of take over Arthur Ashe Stadium. There's no one else in the building. We can auction off those experiences to fundraise, mostly for the Andy Roddick Foundation, but we trade auction items sometimes. So one of the auction winners who I hit with this weekend was at an event for Leon Bridges, and Leon Bridges came and played our event, and so we trade in kind, and the world goes round, and it's kind of like a circular give. But we also had a special guest that is one of producer Mike's now, I mean, should we say like close friends now?
I mean, we're pretty close.
You're pretty close.
Yeah. He calls me Mike. No producer on the front end.
Oh.
Yeah.
He doesn't know your formal name.
No.
Anyway, so I'm hitting, and we have some other friends, maybe some fun news, big news coming for our little podcast, but not today. But these guys are busy businessing, and I'm out on the court. I played 9 hours one day. The next day, not quite as much, but I'm kind of over there hitting, and our special guest, our friend, your friend, that you were so nice to host at Arthur Ashe Stadium, is none other than Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is like a star amongst stars. You want to see adults turn into like a 12-year-old at like a Justin Bieber concert? Or I guess now it wouldn't be him. It would be like a Sabrina Carpenter concert. People freak out for this guy, and rightfully so. Nicest guy ever. But what struck me in this conversation here, why don't you take over the story, Mike? You know better. You were right there.
We were over on the side. John and I were over on the side speaking with some folks, and Lynn walks over to John, blows right by me, blows right by everyone, and goes straight up to Mr. John Wertheim and says, "I'm a huge fan of yours." Yeah. And John responds, he goes, "I love your writing." He goes, "I love your writing" to John. And John responds, "Yours isn't so bad either."
Your creative output is
you're not so bad yourself, Lynn.
Well, you guys didn't tell me he was like. It took me 2 seconds to like synapse his file. I didn't even know who. Nice guy and all. He came and then oh shit, I know who that is. Not a lot of warning there. I would have had my like Hamilton lines ready, and my daughter's like, "Why didn't you get a photo?"
But he is a huge fan of yours,
lovely
though, John.
guy.
He came over. He was fanboying over John Wertheim.
Super fanboying.
Weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was pretty cool.
I've seen a 3-legged turkey.
John's a big deal, man.
I know.
You guys sound so surprised.
I forget. You weren't surprised?
No. Well, you know what's funny? Wait. Do we tell him he had a little tip too?
Yeah.
He said, "Should I say what it was?"
Yeah.
I don't think I'm violating any confidences. His wife was present as well. She was lovely. So was his nephew. But his wife's maiden name is Nadal.
Yeah.
So he encouraged us to, in your next column on your next podcast, why don't you guys have a trivia question? Who was the last Nadal to play on the big court at Arthur Ashe?
I told you.
Not Rafa.
Yeah. So he brought some family members, some other Nadals that we hit with, and I said, "This is great," because forever I thought Roddick versus Nadal on Arthur Ashe Stadium was going to end in a 1-1 tie. One was very skewed one way. The next time it was just as skewed the other way. Didn't end well for me, but I know Rafa's spending the moments before his impending retirement definitely listening to Served. I hate to break it to him, but Roddick 2, Nadal 1 now at US Open. So, not everything super rosy. Anyways, we had a great time. It was fantastic. More news soon, hopefully about the podcast. But it's just been a blast. One of the things we're going to do is we're going to try to do a little something different. Okay. So producer Mike, I've been busy, guys. I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. Like I couldn't come in here and prep for an hour before the show.
Why couldn't you? What were you doing?
Because
you're Hollywood now.
Because I was doing a table read. Like
I
was doing a table read, John. That's like what us actors do when you're prepping for a motion picture and the cast sits around, super famous people. We all just sit around and read funny lines. And I just didn't have time, guys. I didn't have time to prep for the show. So Mike, you're going to have to read a headline. I'm sorry. In demand. I don't know what to tell you.
How do you feel about your lines? Do you feel pretty good?
Yeah.
Flawless.
It was the difference between, like, in all seriousness now, obviously that wasn't serious. In all seriousness now, like the people sitting around actually like using voice inflection and then me going, baba dooba doop. It's a massive difference. Like they know what they're doing. And I hear my wife do it and she reads it and then you read it. I'm like, doot, 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 and it's so bad. I'm the worst.
You'll get there.
So table reads have now gone on Zoom as well. You got like Olipop behind you when you're doing table reads?
No,
now?
I didn't do it from here because the guys were in here setting up our show. So I went literally from that to this. So I did it in the office, in the house. But yeah, fuck, why not? We can get Olipop in there sometime. No problem.
Let's do it.
I'm sure Stiller and Ed Harris would love it. It'd be great.